Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, distinguished dignitaries, a very good morning. It is my privilege to stand before you today as your host, and on behalf of the entire MERI fraternity, I extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to MERI Dialogue 4.0, the International Conference on India's relation with Central and Southeast Asia, challenges and opportunities. Today, we convene in the spirit of intellectual exchange, bringing together esteemed domain experts, diplomats, and thought leaders to engage in insightful discussions on some of the most pressuring issues in the international relations. This assembly is an exceptional opportunity for us to delve deeply into the dynamic interactions between India and the region of Central and Southeast Asia, examining both the challenges and the promising avenues for collaboration. Let us now follow the traditional ceremony as a tribute to Ma Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. Light is a symbol of brightness and prosperity. As sunlight expels the darkness of light, by bringing prosperity and happiness in our lives. To make this event a blessed one, we must invoke Goddess Saraswati by lighting the lamp of knowledge and wisdom along with Saraswati Vandana. May I now request all the dignitaries to please proceed for lamp lighting ceremony. Thank you all. With utmost respect, may I kindly request all our esteemed dignitaries to please come forward and take their seats on the stage. In order to be free, you have to be brave. Freedom and bravery, there's a reason we sing of them in our national anthem. It makes us proud, unifies us, reminds us of our heritage, promotes patriotism, and gives us a sense of direction. As national anthem is a symbol of unity and patriotism for every Indian, I invite everyone to rise in solidarity and sing along, honoring our nation's value and celebrating our collective spirits.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
It is my honor to introduce Honorable Professor Dr. Lalit Agarwal, Vice President, MERI Group of Institutions, a distinguished educationist and institution builder. Professor Agarwal has dedicated over 3 decades to the establishment and development of prestigious educational institutions. MERI Group of Institutions, under his leadership, has established Department of Management, Department of Engineering, Department of Law, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Department of Information Technology, Department of Commerce, Department of Teacher Training, Department of International Studies and Schools. As a visionary leader, he has forged collaborations with 30 international universities, extending from Asia to Europe and the US, ensuring that MERI students gain valuable global exposure and real-world experience. An alumnus of NIT Rourkela, he holds a Doctor of Philosophy for his exceptional work in leadership, management, and educational development. In addition to being an inspiring mentor and advisor to students and faculties, he is also an accomplished author and editor of several books and research papers. Professor Agarwal's enduring commitment to provide quality education and promoting social welfare has earned him numerous awards and accolades. He is deeply involved in furthering the cause of education and social welfare. Please join me in welcoming Sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, faculty members, my friends from the press, scholars, academicians. On behalf of the Triveni Educational and Social Welfare Society and the MERI Group of Institutions, it's my proud privilege to welcome you all today to this international conference on Central Asia and India, Central Asia and Southeast Asia challenges and opportunities. My sincere thanks for all of you for sparing your valuable time and being a part of us. The current global order, marked by armed conflicts, shifting alliances, economic volatility, and escalating security threats, has placed India's foreign policy at a pivotal juncture. The country's rise to prominence and emergence as the 5th largest economy, accounting for 17.76% of the world's population, has made its external relations an important component of its national interests. In the latest World Economic Outlook data shared by the IMF, India continues to lead large economies in growth. So, as a large economy seeking a bigger role at the global stage, India in many ways seeks to redefine its major role as a major power driving and capitalizing on shifts in the global order. In this context, there is a need for analysis of India's emergence as a major continental power in Asia, expanding its global footprints to secure its interests in trade and commerce through mutual cooperation and partnership, covering bilateral and multilateral agenda. In the aftermath of the G20 in Delhi last year, Indian diplomacy and strategic interests have been amplified at the regional and global arena. So it is pertinent to note that in a decentralized world order, India has pursued its strategic autonomy in the domain of foreign policy by joining diverse regional and international groupings for the sake of national interests and for development of the world in general. India's memberships of the BRICS, the SCO, the RIC, as well as the G20, Quad, and India-Middle East Economic India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, and other Western groupings are groups to be mentioned as far as India is concerned. In the Asian context, to quote the External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, Indian foreign policy agenda includes the idea of a multipolar Asia on the basis of convergence of Indian interests and other actors. In the context, the present government has prioritized on the theme of extended neighborhoods to develop closer ties with the regions of Central and Southeast Asia. The region of Central Asia, India and Central Asia have long-standing historical, economical, political, and cultural relations that have transformed into a stable and mature partnership in the changing world. We all know that the Aryans came from the Central Asia, and I have been told that there's a study which says that 50,000 years old, the DNA of Indians and the Central Asia people are the same. Also, if we go to different languages, Uzbek has 5,000 words of commonality with what we speak in Hindi and Urdu in India. For India, the proximity of the Central Asia region as its extended neighborhood and growing convergence on issues of mutual interest have been the reasons of its constructive engagement for the welfare of all Central Asians. Historically, the ancient times, the region has seen the confluence of religion and culture as Buddhism spread from the Indian mainland to other parts of the world, and Islamic culture reached the Indian subcontinent from its northwestern borders. In modern times, the popularity of Hindi films, especially Awara of Raj Kapoor and the films of Mithun Chakravarti, have been quite popular in this region. The august audience present here would agree with me that India has played a constructive role in stability and order in this region by providing massive economic assistance to Afghanistan in terms of it building its infrastructure, providing humanitarian aid to the war-torn country. As far as the connectivity is concerned, the completion of Chahabar port in Iran and the vigorous implementation of India's Connect Central Asia policy launched in 2012 during the first India-Central Asia dialogue in Kyrgyzstan. For India's energy security, the region provides immense strategic economic opportunities in terms of oil and gas. On the issues of the investment opportunities, Indian firms must participate in the region's oil and gas exploration ventures, perhaps by joining the relevant international consortia and also in the pharma area. Thus, for India and the CAR's interests are complementary given the mutual economic advantage for both sides. Central Asia is a huge consumer market for a range of goods and services. Both India and Central Asia need economic collaboration in terms of markets and diverse resources, which can be pooled for broader regional cooperation in Asia. The economic cooperation is possible through joint ventures in banking, insurance, agriculture, information technology, pharmaceutical industry, to name a few. In the context of Southeast Asia, India has civilizational ties with the countries in the region, sharing religion and culture from ancient times. The spread of Hinduism and Buddhism from India, along with the expansion of the sea trade during the Chola Empire from South India, have brought peoples closer to each other. We share cultural ties with the Southeast Asia region, and Deepavali is celebrated with pomp and show in Malaysia, in Thailand. We know that Cambodia has the Hindu temples, the largest Hindu Vishnu temple, Angkor Wat, is in Cambodia, and also in Indonesia. The cultural connect which they have, they still play Ramayana during the time of Dashera and Deepavali. In modern times, this region of Southeast Asia, stretching from Myanmar on India's border to Indonesia, has great geopolitical and cultural affinity with the Indian subcontinent, which has been the fulcrum of the Indian Ocean region. In 1992, under the Prime Minister Narasimha Rao, India officially initiated a Look East policy, a deliberate attempt to bring India closer to economically dynamic Southeast Asia, which has largely referred to the region of Asian tigers for their rapid economic development, pursuing free market economic model. For India in the central to act as a fulcrum between the Central Asia region as well as the Southeast Asia region, the great opportunity for both the regions are there. We see that the Southeast Asia region is an arc of prosperity and the Central Asia region is the arc of energy. Together, if the connectivity and other issues are solved and if collective economic opportunities are explored, I think a large part of the world economy would be will be controlled and developed by these regions. I would not take much of the time. I would again thank Honorable Deputy Foreign Minister and Professor Khaidarov to be with us here today and who would be speaking after me for his inaugural address and sharing his views on the subject. I also thank Honorable His Excellency Mr. Rustambayev for sparing his time. I know he was very busy and he has come all the way to us to be with us and share his views. Thank you very much and let's all have a nice learning experience throughout the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring words. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our distinct honor to welcome His Excellency Mr. Sardar Rustambayev, Ambassador of Uzbekistan to India. Born in Tashkent, His Excellency boasts an impressive academic background with degrees from University of Birmingham and the School of Oriental and African Studies in London, and a PhD in political science from the Academy of State and Social Constructions in Uzbekistan. A dedicated public servant since 2000, His Excellency has represented Uzbekistan on global platforms, including posting in the United Kingdoms and China, and as an ambassador to France and Portugal. Fluent in 4 languages, Uzbek, English, Russian, and French. His Excellency brings vast diplomatic experience and insight to his role. Please join me in welcoming Ambassador Rustambayev to share his insights.
Good morning, Namaste, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank, of course, Professor Lalit Agarwal, Vice President of the MERI Group of Institutions, Professor Ramakant Dwivedi, Director, India Central Asia Foundation, and of course the whole team for organizing today's important event, and we are proud and honored to be here with you today. The topic of today's dialogue is very important, connectivity between Central and South Asia, and Professor Agarwal just pointed out what importance both of these regions hold for the international community today, the size of the population, the size of the territory, and I think one should not neglect how important these regions are, and you can see from the map how vast these regions are, and the majority of the population of the world is living here now. Today I wanted to briefly say about Uzbekistan's relations with India and Southeast Asia as a whole. As you know, Uzbekistan and India, our relations are based on centuries-old civilizational, cultural, humanitarian, of course, trade and economic ties. In recent years, there has been a steep increase in our bilateral interactions in all of the spheres, including security, trade, and cultural exchanges. Our history of our connectivity dates back centuries old with the so-called Great Spice Roads, which predates the Great Silk Road. The diplomatic relations established between Uzbekistan and India were established in 1992, and they opened excuse me, a new horizons for dynamic development of mutual cooperation. And I'm very pleased to note that in the last 7-8 years, our relations have prospered a lot, and they have increasingly been strengthened, reflected by the high level of meetings and visits, and of course, primarily between the leaders of our countries. The state visit of His Excellency Mr. Shavkat Mirziyoyev, Honorable President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, to India in 2018, and of course his participation as a chief guest in International Investment Summit Vibrant in Gujarat in 2019, and of course the visit of His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Prime Minister of India, to Uzbekistan back in 2022, opened new pages of friendship between our two countries. Also, I would like to note your attention to the recent meeting between our leaders, which happened in Kazan, in Russia, on the sidelines of the BRICS Summit on October 23 of this year, where, of course, two leaders discussed further expansion of Uzbek-Indian strategic partnership and multifaceted cooperation. During that meeting, a special attention was dedicated to implementing joint projects in the field of high-tech, artificial intelligence, industry, energy, pharmaceuticals, and of course, transport communications. We have also reached an agreement on organizing a next session of Intergovernmental Commission and Business Forum this year in Tashkent. And the large-scale industrial cooperation program was elaborated, and it will be adopted during that intergovernmental mission. The two leaders also spoke on organizing the Days of Culture, because culture is an important direction of our cooperation. Joint events in the sphere of medicine, sports, and youth, including youth parliamentary organizations. Excuse me. Of course, all of these highlighted events will enrich our bilateral agenda and in a most multifaceted way. Uzbekistan is actively working on to strengthening connectivity with India and other South Asian countries, while recognizing the importance of these regions for its economic and social development. To this end, our country has been implementing several initiatives to expand our trade, transport, energy, and cultural exchange. As you all know, a high-level international conference, Central and South Asia, regional connectivity, challenges and opportunities, which was organized at the initiative of our president in Tashkent in July 2021, and it demonstrated the interest to this conference, demonstrated great opportunities for deepening our political dialogue, economic cooperation, and of course, contacts, people-to-people contacts between the countries. And I would like to outline key priorities and initiatives that Uzbekistan is taking to strengthen connectivity with South Asia in general and India in specific. First and foremost is transport and infrastructure projects, so-called creation of transport corridors. Uzbekistan is actively developing projects aimed at creating effective transport corridors, including the new railway lines connecting with South Asia. Participation in development of international North-South transport corridor. Uzbekistan supports this new transport corridor with expansion of the initiative of, the Iranian port of Chabahar, which allows for integration into international trade routes and increase of volume of cargo transportations between Europe and South Asia. Second domain is economic cooperation, of course, trade development. Uzbekistan seeks to increase the volumes of mutual trade with South Asian countries. In this context, of course, business forums, fairs, and exhibitions are actively held to discuss the opportunities of cooperation in the various sectors of economy. For example, lately the leaders of Uzbekistan and India have set an ambitious goal of increasing the volume of our bilateral trade to 1 billion in the next year. Industrial cooperation. Uzbekistan is engaging to attract investment from South Asian countries by offering most favorable and attractive conditions for business and support for manufacturers. As an example, we can cite the cooperation with Indian companies in pharmaceuticals and textiles. India is well represented in other industrial domains in Uzbekistan. Energy is another important direction. Uzbekistan is actively seeking opportunities to expand cooperation in this field of energy. And most importantly in the field of renewable energy with India. We are trying to promote projects with world-known holdings and companies like Adani's, Reliance Group and others to attract their investment to the energy sector of Uzbekistan. And as I already noted, cultural exchange and humanitarian initiatives are very important. Uzbekistan is developing cultural ties with India throughout initiating different concert programs, exhibition festivals, which will contribute to better understanding between our people. And last but not least is security issues and of course combating the modern threats to peace and stability in our countries. Uzbekistan and India share mutual concerns about extremism and terrorism, especially in the context of the situation in our neighboring country, Afghanistan. Our country is putting active efforts to consolidate security in the region, which includes interaction with South Asian states in the fight against terrorism and extremism. And of course, today's important event represents close cooperation between the scientific and academic circles of Uzbekistan and India. I would like to use this opportunity, of course, to welcome His Excellency Ambassador Mr. Abdusamad Haydarov, the Director of Diplomatic Academy of Uzbekistan at the World Economy and Diplomacy University of Tashkent, who has specifically a right to participate in this forum and share his valuable insights on this issue. It is owing to his efforts of the Diplomatic Academy and the India Central Asia Foundation, a collection of scientific articles, namely India, Uzbekistan, Perspectives of Connectivity between South and Central Asia, has been published, and I think it will be launched today. The preparation of the book's release continued for more than a year and a half, and today we can read these informative pieces by the scientists and experts from Uzbekistan and India about the current state and prospects of strategic partnership between our countries. Of course, there is no doubt that the publication serves as a due contribution to the further development of cooperation between these two vast regions. And I would like to take this opportunity, and maybe we should give a round of applause to the team for their hard work on the preparation of this wonderful piece. Thank you for your attention. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, Excellency, for your insightful and thought-provoking address. We greatly appreciate the valuable perspective and knowledge you have shared with us. We are honored to introduce Professor Abdusamad Khaidro, a distinguished diplomat and current director of the Diplomatic Academy under the University of World Economy and Diplomacy, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Uzbekistan. With a rich career in diplomacy, Professor Khaidro has held significant roles, including head of the United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan and as Uzbekistan's ambassador to Iran. A seasoned expert on Central, South Asia affairs, he has also served as a Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and held advisory roles in the Uzbek government. He is a prolific author with over 70 publications on international relations and security. Please join me in welcoming Professor Khaidro to share his valuable insights.
Dear Professor Lalit Agrawal, Vice President, MERI Group Institutions, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me express my deepest gratitude to the organizers of this conference for the invitation to participate in such an important forum dedicated to the problems of Indian relations in Central and Southeast Asia. Just 2 weeks ago, a joint work by Indian and Uzbek scholars on bilateral relations and interregional cooperation was presented in Tashkent. Central Asia and South Asia have been historical and civilizational commonality. Both regions have been in common political, economic, and humanitarian space for a long time. The peoples of Central Asia and India have always been open for interaction with each other. The friendly ties between the peoples of Central Asia and India have long historical roots. Since those ancient times, not only diplomatic and trade relations have been developing between the peoples, but also an exchange of knowledge. Thus, well-known Abu Rayhan Biruni, in his book India, studied in detail the culture and traditions of the Indian people. Both macro regions have been also linked to trade arteries, scientific and cultural ties, acting as natural bridge for the countries of West Asia, Europe, East and Southeast Asia. However, these ties were significantly disrupted in the mid of 19th century as a result of geopolitical rivalry between the two empires, which led to artificial isolation of the two regions. Another result of this rivalry was the transformation of Afghanistan into a buffer state separating the possessions of two empires. The declaration of independence by the Central Asian republics opened an opportunities for establishment for full-blooded bilateral relations and the revival of interregional connectivity between Central and South Asia. Contemporary relations between Uzbekistan and India are characterized by dynamic and multifaceted nature, which have been risen to a qualitatively new level. The meetings between the leaders of the two countries have made it possible to reach important agreements in many areas, including in the scientific and educational sphere. Today's event is a vivid confirmation of our close culture ties and friendship, which have been formed for centuries. Today, they continue to build cultural bridges between the countries of Central Asia and India. Today, a new political atmosphere of trust, good neighborhood, and cooperation has been formed in Central Asia, which contributes to the expansion of political trade, economic, and cultural ties of Central Asia with other regions, particularly with South and Southeast Asia. As you know, in July 2021, on the initiative of the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, the international conference, Central and South Asia, Regional Connectivity, Challenges and Opportunities, was organized in Tashkent with the participation of delegations from more than 40 countries and 30 international organizations. A joint statement of the Foreign Minister of Central Asia and South Asia was adopted at this conference. The statement emphasized the importance of comprehensive and consistent development of ties in all areas between the states of Central Asia and South Asia. The key role of Afghanistan as a link to connect both regions was also emphasized. The creative approach of our republic was also reflected in the UN General Assembly's resolution on strengthening connectivity between Central and South Asia, drafted at the initiative of Uzbekistan. Today, Central Asian countries are actively promoting various infrastructure projects designed to strengthen ties between the regions, in particular Trans-Afghan Corridor, TAPI-Kasta 1000. It seems that building interregional connectivity will create additional opportunities to ensure stability, sustainable development, and economic prosperity of the two macro regions of Eurasia. Enhancing connectivity between Central and South Asia will also contribute to strengthening peace and stability in Afghanistan, involving this country in interregional economic ties. However, the dynamics of modern international relations suggest that connectivity should not be limited to two regions, Central and South Asia. Central Asian countries are undoubtedly interested in expanding and deepening the geography of their multifaceted relations, in particular in strengthening ties with the country of Southeast Asia, where the center of world economic development and modern technologies is moving. India could play a key role in this new trend of interregional ties by becoming bridge between Central and Southeast Asia. However, there are objective obstacles and challenges to building interregional connectivity, which include the following. First of all, security issues, including conflicts and tense relations between the countries of the region, which may hinder the realization of joint infrastructure projects and cooperation. Terrorism, drug trafficking, and other security threats require joint efforts of the countries of the region to combat them, which is not always easy to realize. Next, lack of well-developed transportation and logistical infrastructure that hampers efficient communication and trade between the regions. Lack of well-developed banking and, in general, financial institutions in the countries of both regions capable of accelerating mutual settlements of trade, economic, investment, and other projects. Differences in economic development and trade policies of the countries of the region may complicate market integration and economic cooperation. The presence and interest of large states and international organizations can both help and complicate processes of interregional cooperation depending on their strategies and competition. Ethnic and cultural differences in the populations of the regional countries can also create barriers to cooperation. Successful overcoming these challenges, first and foremost, requires joint concerted efforts to strengthen political dialogue, improve infrastructure, and reduce trade barriers. It's also necessary to develop cultural, humanitarian, and scientific interaction between the parties, which will contribute to a better mutual understanding of the parties and will make it possible to improve and launch new joint projects. I would like to conclude my statement with the words of the great Mahatma Gandhi, who once said, "The future depends on what we do in the present." Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. We greatly appreciate your valuable insights. It is a pleasure to introduce Professor Dr. Ramakant Dwivedi, a prominent scholar and head of Center for International Studies at MERI Group of Institutions. Professor Dwivedi is also the director of the India Central Asia Foundation. With an illustrious career, he has served as a visiting research fellow in Tashkent, an associate fellow at IDSA, and as officer on special duty at National Security Advisor's Office, PMO, Government of India, overseeing critical affairs in Afghanistan, Central and West Asia. He has represented India in 14 countries as a domain expert and has over 42 research papers published in prestigious journals and books. He is the author of 9 books contributing extensively to the field of international relations. May I now please request Professor Dwivedi to come and address the audience.
Honorable Shri I.P. Agrawal ji, Chairman, Triveni Educational Welfare Society, Excellency Professor Abdul Samad Khaidarov, Director, Diplomatic Academy, University of World Economy and Diplomacy, His Excellency Sardar Rustam Bhai, Ambassador of Uzbekistan to India, Professor Lalit Agrawal ji, Vice President, MERI Group of Institutions, Professor Kalra, Dean, MERI College, Excellencies, distinguished academicians, ladies and gentlemen, and students. My job is to talk about the book which is going to be released. Some of the contributors to this book, I'm so happy they are with us. This is first time, and I stand to be corrected, that in India, especially on the Central Asian studies, that the book has been brought out in 3 languages. English edition has been brought out by the Pentagon Press, and Russian and Uzbek editions have been brought out by the Diplomatic Academy, University of World Economy and Diplomacy. The objective to bring this book in 3 languages is to reach to the maximum number of readers and to understand each other's perspectives about the ongoing processes in Central and South Asia. I'm sure you will find it interesting, and we look forward to your critical comments about this book. What is in detail in the book, I am not going to talk about it. Pentagon Press is here. There is a stall outside, so you may like to take a copy, read it, and do send your critical comments, and we would like to improve upon after getting your feedbacks. With these words, I now request for the release of the book.
And now, the most awaited moment is here. A glimpse into the most profound and influential books of our time. As Shakespeare reminds us, the past merely sets the stage for what's to come. And with this unveiling, we step into a new chapter of knowledge and insights that promises to leave a lasting imprint on our minds and hearts. Without further ado, I humbly invite all our esteemed dignitaries to please come in the center of the stage and honor us by unveiling this remarkable work to the world.
The co-editor of the book, Ambassador Khaidarov, we are delighted that he is with
I
us here
request
today.
all the distinguished dignitaries to please come on the stage.
Using this opportunity, I would like to say that this book was published in 3 languages: English, Uzbek, and Russian languages. So it targeted to your audience, all international community, diplomatic corps, etc., etc. So, and I would like to express my deepest gratitude again to Professor Agrawal for his assistance, to Director of India Central Asia Foundation, Mr. Dwivedi, the leadership of this foundation, Professor and Ambassador Ashok Sharma, Mr. Rakhunath, Ambassador Rakhunath, and others. So thanks a lot for your usual and constant support to our activities. I hope with your support, our friendship will be flourishing. Thank you again.
We are glad to have with us the guest of honor, Honorable Shri I.P. Agarwal Sir, President, MERI Group of Institutions, with us today. Sir is a postgraduate in English, Hindi, and History and holds a diploma in educational planning. He has vast and rich administrative experience of more than 6 decades. Sir has also been awarded with Radha Krishna National Teachers Award. Sir has authored a number of books in the areas of education, child development, and program planning. Sir is a visionary leader and has been instrumental in planning and setting up MERI Group of Institutions. I now request Sir to please come forward and address the audience.
Good morning to all of you. His Excellency Mr. Sardar System, Ambassador of Uzbekistan to India, Professor Abdustam Khajo, Director Diplomatic Academy, University of World Economy and Diplomacy, and other distinguished guests. I have great pleasure in extending a very warm welcome to all the distinguished personalities this morning in this international conference on Indian relations with Central and Southeast Asia, challenges and opportunities. Before talking about today's topic, I would like to put on record my appreciation of MERI initiatives through such events to make the learners aware of global issues relevant to the growth or as a vigilant citizen of this great country, the biggest world democracy. The book released today will go a long way to enhance our knowledge about India's connectivity with South and Central Asia. India's look east to act east policy has resulted in concentrating its economic and diplomatic resources in Southeast and East Asia and India's growing engagement with ASEAN and beyond. India has a relation with Central Asia since 3rd century BC, as the nation fell en route to the legendary Silk Route. Both India and Central Asia has economic complementarity in terms of resources, manpower, and markets. These diverse resources can be pooled together for all-round development of its people. As evidenced by the recent NSA meeting between India and Central Asia states, security remains the focal issue. Indian most forged links with this dynamic region with transit, trade, investment, and people-to-people connect to convert New Delhi as a reliable and long-lasting partner in Central Asia aimed geopolitical challenges. India and Central Asia countries are secular, pluralistic, diverse, and peaceful societies. They are natural allies and partners to promote inter-ethnic ties too. India is taking all the desirable initiatives to broaden its relations in Central Asia by focusing China-led SCO, which includes Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan, is a right step in this direction. As we advance our diplomatic initiatives, we must remain cognizant of the vigilant gaze and other global powers, particularly China, which has swiftly organized its own summit with the same leaders a days before to ours. This competitive landscape emphasizes the need for India to enhance its footsteps in Central Asia. Historically, Central Asia has been a region of significant importance in in India's opinion. The centuries-old relations built on cultural interaction which led to foundation for our current engagement. Following the dissolution of the Soviet Union, we were presented with new opportunities as independent states emerged, rich in natural resources and potential for trade. However, these opportunities come with challenges, especially concerning the rise of religious and fundamentalism and the persistent instability in Afghanistan, which could spill over into Central Asia. The economic possibilities between India and Central Asia are vast, with the population exceeding 55 million and abundant natural resources. Central Asia presents a promising market for Indian goods and services. Nevertheless, we must navigate several obstacles, including terrorism, drug trafficking, and political unrest, which threaten stability. The resurgence of the Taliban in Afghanistan raises concern that could destabilize not just Central Asia but also South Asia, impacting India's own security landscape. Recent developments at LAC and formation of Russia, India, China, RIC group point out towards improved relations between the two great economies, India and China, which will be helpful for global peace as well. Moreover, India's energy security is deeply intertwined with the stability of Central Asia. Our effort to build robust network for trade and connectivity must focus on collaborative initiatives such as the International North-South Trade Corridor and the Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India TAPI gas pipeline. Kingdoms in southeast coast of the Indian subcontinent has established trade, culture, and political relations with Southeast Asia kingdoms. India's relationship with Central and Southeast Asia offer both strategic opportunities and complex challenges in areas of security, economic development, cultural diplomacy, and connectivity. Let us have a look at the challenges and opportunities between India, Central Asia, and Southeast Asia. Challenges, I just made security concerns, geopolitical competition, and connectivity and infrastructure constraints. Opportunities, energy and economic partnership, cultural and historical ties, defense and strategic cooperation, multilateral engagements, and trade ring agreements. India's relations with Central and Southeast Asia are pivotal for its broader foreign policy and regional stability. While significant security, logistic, and competitive challenges exist, leveraging diplomatic, cultural, and economic ties can help India maintain influence and foster stability across these regions. This multifaceted approach enables India to balance China's influence, strengthen regional connectivity, and secure critical resources for sustained growth. I'm sure that the students present here will be greatly benefited from the rich experience of the various guests and the speakers invited in today's conference. Thanks and warm welcome, and once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for gracing this momentous occasion and for sharing your words of wisdom. It is our privilege and honor to extend a heartfelt gratitude to all our distinguished guests. As a part of our tradition, we facilitate our guests with a token of respect and gratitude. May I now request Honorable Shri I.P. Agarwal, Sir, President, MERI Group of Institutions, to present a gesture of gratitude to His Excellency Mr. Sardar Rustam Bayev, Ambassador of Uzbekistan to India. Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Honorable Professor Dr. Lalit Agarwal, Vice President, MERI Group of Institutions, to kindly present a token of appreciation to Professor Abdusamad Khaidarov, Director, Diplomatic Academy, University of World Economy and Diplomacy, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Uzbekistan, as a gesture of our heartfelt gratitude. Thank you, sir. I'm honored to invite Professor Dr. Deepshikha Kalra, Dean MERI, to deliver the vote of thanks on this significant occasion. Dr. Kalra has published more than 25 publications in Spocus indexed, refereed and UGC listed journals. She has presented several research papers in national and international conferences. She has been a professional administrator, has been handling multiple administrative responsibilities, and have been instrumental in institutional growth, along with initiating quality education, innovation, and social responsibility culture within the campus. Your guidance and leadership have been pivotal in making this event a rounding success. May I please invite ma'am to address the audience?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a true honor to deliver the vote of thanks for the inaugural session of MERI Dialogue 4.0, International Conference on India's Relations with Southeast Asia and Central Asia, Challenges and Opportunities. On behalf of the organizers and all participants, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the distinguished dignitaries and guests for joining us today and contributing to the successful inaugural of this important conference. First and foremost, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to His Excellency, Mr. Sardar Rustam Bayev, and Ambassador of Uzbekistan, for gracing this event with his benign presence. Sir, your thought-provoking address on India and Central Asia and relationship with Uzbekistan has set the ball rolling for discussion to follow. Thank you for your invaluable insights into the regional relationships and aspirations we collectively share. We also express our deep appreciation to Professor Abdusamad Khaidarov, sir, Director of the Diplomatic Academy at the University of World Economy and Diplomacy under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Uzbekistan, for his inspiring contribution. Your perspective on diplomacy and the pathways for cooperation between India and Central Asia have greatly enriched the vision of this conference. Setting the stage for deeper engagement, thank you so much, sir. Our deepest gratitude to our Honorable Shri I.P. Agarwal, sir, Chairman, Triveni Educational Welfare Society and President, MERI Group of Institution. Honorable Shri S.K. Agarwal, sir, CFO, MERI Group of Institutions. Honorable Professor Dr. Rakesh Khurana, sir, Advisor, MERI Group of Institution, and former Pro VC, IGNOU. Professor Dr. Ramakant Dwivedi, sir, Head Center of International Studies, MERI Group of Institution. Dr. Mamta Agrawal, Principal, Ramakrishna Senior Secondary School. Mr. Love Agarwal, Head MERI Startup Hub, and esteemed delegates, scholars, experts from both the academic and diplomatic communities who have joined us from various parts of the world. I'll fail in my duty if I'll not thank our Vice President, Sir, Honorable Professor Lalit Agrawal, sir, who has been the guiding force for this international conference, and he always stands beside us for conducting these kind of events successfully. Thank you so much, sir, for always being not a sage on the stage, but the mentor by our side. Thank you for your support and guidance. A special thanks to the organizing team whose hard work and dedication have made this inaugural session and indeed the whole conference a reality. Your tireless efforts behind the scenes have ensured a smooth and meaningful beginning. Lastly, to all attendees, thank you for your presence, your curiosity, your commitment to the theme of this conference. Your active participation will be instrumental in making this gathering an enriching experience for all involved. As we move forward, I am confident that the insight shared here will inspire lasting collaborations in terms of trade and commerce, supply chain, economy, and IT, and new ideas for addressing the challenges and availing the opportunities in India's relation with Southeast and Central Asia, and the religious exchanges, cultural prosperity, technological developments, and much more. Thank you once again. We look forward to the dynamic discussions and exchanges that await us. Thank you.